for this?
The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of Worldwide Digital Broadcasting Corporation.
All right, we are back as we come in on the head bobbing beat to Metallica. That means it is Monday, and in this particular case, it happens to be September 12th, and 6 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, so it's time for another installment of Southern Nevada Sports News coming to you from WorldwideDigitalBroadcastingCorp.com. My name is Bill Miller. I'm co-host along with
Jeff Belknap.
And with us on the line, the prognosticator himself from the banks of Lake Erie, his penthouse, Cleveland, George Jorge Mish. George, how you doing, buddy?
Good evening, good afternoon, whatever it is.
All right, George, listen, man.
Beautiful day, isn't it?
It's actually a pretty nice day here.
Only 50-something here. I can actually sleep tonight.
50-something? Not too shabby.
Yes.
Wow. Well, honestly, it's actually going to be under 100 most of the week.
Yep.
And yes, that we celebrate that here. And the lows are now actually in the 70s as opposed to the 80s.
Yes, yes.
So
beautiful.
Yeah, so fall is must be around the corner. Probably arrive sometime in November, but
well, we get it here September 22nd if the calendar's right, and I can still see right now. So
George,
that's when fall begins.
Listen, man. First of all, let me thank you for joining us because
You're welcome.
I know that you're not exactly feeling great, and but I really appreciate it, and of course Jeff appreciates you. And in the studio with us, by the way, George, is my youngest son, Jason.
Jason, how are you? I've heard a
Everybody
lot
out
about
there,
you.
Jason Miller, my youngest son.
Trying to get him on the camera, but he wouldn't go for it.
Yeah, he's the baby of the family, and he's 36. Yeah, so and he'll always be the baby of the family, thanks to your older brother. And Jason has just recently moved here, and
Nice.
Yeah, at some point or another we'll get him actually on camera on the show. But needless to say, I'm excited about it, and Lord knows his grandmother's excited about that.
Oh, nice.
But needless to say, there was, what a weekend in football, both college and the NFL.
Yeah.
Opening week for the NFL, week 2 for college. George, where would you like to start?
Well, I'd like to start with on the soapbox here. Saturday, I struggled to a 2-5 record. I have no excuses. It's early, but I struggled, and I'm getting calls. I haven't heard swear words like this since the old days back in my 20s. Okay,
I love those.
I pan over to Sunday and I sweep the board 4-0. Not a peep.
Of course not.
Not a peep out of anyone.
Yeah,
That is the way it rolls, I'm afraid. And by the way, congratulations on yesterday. 4-0 on a day like that. I mean, my goodness.
But I only beat San Diego by with half a point, even though they were up by like 50 in the second quarter. But let's not go into that.
Well, with a lot of my family in Kansas City, needless to say, we were trying to pull them down off the ledge, in the first 3 quarters. But the way that game ended, I mean, it is a typical San Diego game. I really have to say that. They have pulled, crap like that over the last.
Whole game changed when Keenan Allen went down with his injury and his wide receiver. Look at the stats for Rivers from before he went out to after it's out, night and day totally. And then Smith just went crazy in the second half, and it still was a victory. So I'm happy with that.
Well, I actually had them on the money line on a 2-teamer, and
Who's this?
The Kansas City.
Did you?
And,
Okay.
and I literally was like, all right, well, I'll overlook that one. That one's going to be done. And then when I looked back at the score, it was actually tied. So I was like,
Yes,
oh, okay,
it
here we
was
go.
quick.
Good game. That's the way it's supposed to be. These teams are set up like that. And, one of the key things about gambling in Vegas, especially if you live in Vegas, is actually having an app. And we still have an app companies that has not stepped up to the plate, so I'm not going to mention who I use. But those are the exact type of games that you want an app for. Because if you have an app, you can actually get off those games. The college game, 2 college games this week, you could have got off, with the Florida State game being one of them. And even the The Thursday night game with Carolina was another great example
Yeah.
where Carolina's up big. You get some value with Denver. Denver comes back, wins. If you're smart, you middle that game. So get an app.
Way too much work.
Well, yeah, for old guys like you. I know I didn't mean old guys.
It is. What is an app anyway? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's like when you lay your head on the pillow. It's
Hey, listen,
comedian
George.
too.
You and I are in the. We're not that far apart. So
Two real fast things before you doing whatever you do. I got to say congratulations to a local team out there, Bishop Gorman, for coming from behind and defeating Bosco. Even though they lost their running back who's going to Cal, but a great win, and that's 42 in a row, somewhere in that neighborhood, or
I think so. 41 or 42 in a row.
yeah, amazing. But more for Bill, the biggest thing, the Harlem Globetrotters, you realize today, lost their last, they had an 8,829 game streak, and they lost to an all-star team that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar put together 21 years ago. He was 48, and he still scored 34 points on the guy.
Wow.
How about that?
Amazing.
Okay, that's
Amazing. So, at least it wasn't the Washington Generals.
all. No.
Okay. Because they actually had won one game, and their illustrious history with the Globetrotters.
And then they went on to win up another 2,000 until Michigan State, the national champions, beat them in an exhibition, which they didn't take very well either. So, okay, let's get back to where we're at.
All right. Well, let's see. We're going to start with college.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And how did you do on your college games?
2-5, terrible, awful. Massachusetts couldn't hold on. I don't think they had a first down in the last three quarters, but their defense was fantastic. But Boston College found some offense and won that, and just terrible day. Terrible day. But overall, 12-7 with the pros together, 8-7 college, and 4-0 in the pros. So I keep doing that because I don't want to hear about the 8-7, but it will get better because year after year I'm right at 62%, and it will be that way when it's over.
When it's all said and done. Yeah.
So
Well, and you've been at it a while, Georgie.
Yes, longer than a lot of people. But that's it. On a sad note, I'm an Army fan now, and they went 2-0, but they just lost their cornerback to a car crash. He died yesterday, Brandon Jackson, cornerback, starting cornerback, leading tackler on their team. Sad.
Yeah,
just too young, too early.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. And, it's the fact that he was also attending a military school, a military academy. I mean, yeah. Well, regardless of where he was going, condolences to his family and his teammates. And, my goodness, that's very sad news.
Yes.
So what I'll give you my prediction, and then we can roll that right into this week's plays, because one of them actually goes into this week's plays. So I was 2-1-1. I got backdoored in that Alabama game. I don't know if you guys saw that, but they scored a touchdown with like 40 seconds left to cover the 28, which made it a push.
It was a push, right?
But I was very upset with that because that was actually one of my bigger.
You should have apped it.
I should have done something. My loser was actually Syracuse. I thought that game was on a Friday night.
Yeah.
It was amazing to watch that quarterback play ball.
It is. My goodness.
In Louisville.
That was one of my, Mr. Jackson was one of, I have two players listed. Louisville quarterback Jackson, 610 total offensive yards, 4 touchdowns on the ground, 1 passing.
Over 600 yards of offense.
It was like watching a video game.
It's unbelievable.
It was crazy.
I never said Dino Babers or Babers, whatever his name is, knew how to play defense, but he will get that offense going.
Oh, yeah. So let's roll right into that just from the college standpoint. So Louisville's at Florida State. Would you want to touch on your other point real quick before we go there?
Mine?
Yeah.
Well, the other one I think it's amazing. Arizona, I don't know if it was late at night, but I just found it fascinating. Kalen Bailage, 8 touchdowns in 13 touches for Arizona State. 6 of them were under 7 yards, but he also caught a 39-yard reception and a 75-yard rushing touchdown. 13 times he touched the ball, 8 times he crossed the goal line.
That's a record
not
too.
too bad. That's a record, yes.
That was one of my losses.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah,
mine
actually,
too.
it was my only loss from non-college picks.
Yeah. Well, I loved that the over in that game, and it was my buddy's got a theory, and George, you can just kind of chime in on this. He says take the highest over and the lowest under, and we actually tracked that for 2 years, and it's at 69%.
Really?
69%. So you just look. Doesn't matter who's playing. Doesn't matter who the two teams are. The highest game, whatever it is, take the over. Which this weekend was 79 points, with the Red Raiders and Sun Devils.
And it was indeed a track meet.
Yeah. Oh, it was unbelievable. It was great to watch. So we only got a few minutes. We could probably run through the break. What do you think?
Yeah.
Okay,
By
let's
all
do it
means.
that way. Yeah. So
I hope you don't expect any predictions, because I just looked at the lines. I mean, Florida State, Louisville, the line has changed the other way from Louisville -1 to last time I looked on Vegas Insider, Florida State -2.5. Does that sound right?
that sounds right.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, what I'm looking at in that game is that over 64, because if Syracuse can score points, I think Florida State's going to be able to score some points.
Yes.
So over 64 in that one. The game that we all were talking about a few weeks ago, that Oklahoma and Ohio State.
Wow.
Did you see what that is? Ohio State -1.5.
Well, I got it. Yeah, with the consensus in Vegas at 4 o'clock this afternoon, just a couple hours was 2, but yeah. And I've changed. I had Oklahoma by 9 starting the season. Now I got Ohio State up by 1.
So you think that's
But
an
that's
accurate line, huh?
Scary game.
Yeah, I don't like
But I will give you a lock if you want that, and,
Sure.
and I believe it's a lock unless it loses. I know Bill is not going to like this, but I look at this Appalachian State getting only 3.5 points to Miami in Appalachian State in front of a whopping 24,405. Miami all the way -3.5. Go tonight to pick that.
Yeah, I actually have it down at -3 here on my place.
Yeah, I mean it's I've nothing against you, Billy, but I mean they have not played a Power 5 team in their career, except they did play Michigan
Hey,
one,
wow.
but they have
There we
not.
go again.
Yeah, but I'm talking about since they moved up, and I'm sorry, if Miami can't beat them by 3 anywhere.
I absolutely agree. I actually have that written down on my sheet here.
Okay.
So speaking on Michigan, since you threw it out there and just on the side, I see how you did that. They're laying 20.5 points to a good Colorado team.
Yeah.
And I was really kind of shocked when I saw the line. I mean, to me it's way too many points. I think that Colorado is going to give them the best test other than Michigan State. Obviously Ohio State at the end of the year, but I think that's going to be a better game than people are anticipating. And I don't like to bet against my team, but throwing it out there for the folks that are going to bet 20.5 is something you definitely want to look at. If it goes up, then definitely take it.
Colorado quarterback is healthy this year so far. Everything looking good now.
Yeah, that was a play for me a couple weeks ago. It was one of my best plays. It was actually my biggest dollar amount play against Colorado State.
Okay, well.
So the other ones, I have a couple more on here, but what do you think about Bama -10 against Mississippi?
That's a lot, but Alabama's. I believe Mississippi beat them last year, right?
Yep.
So you got a bit of a pissed off factor there, but Mississippi. I don't know. It's too early in the week. I'm sorry.
Honestly, I see Alabama really laying the lumber on them, and especially after the tongue lashing that Kiffin got, despite their 28-point win last Saturday. I think that they're going to roll it up on them.
I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that one. I'm gonna wait until Saturday morning to bet that one, but I'd have to lean with taking the points.
You're out on the West Coast, guys. I mean, is Oregon? Is there that falling down that they're +3 against Nebraska? Although Nebraska has improved, but is Oregon a little bit down?
Oregon's just really not, to me, a very good road team. So I think that's going to be a factor. That's definitely going to be a hostile environment playing in.
And keeping in that vein, Stanford going up, and at least on Vegas Insider once ago, a couple hours, from 6.5 to 8.5 on USC.
Yeah, I got it at 9 actually on the app that I use that I won't mention. The funny thing is the guy that actually I've been talking to actually listens to the show, so he actually thinks it's funny every time I say that. But
okay,
well, whatever it is. So my last college game is that I'm looking at actually is Michigan State and Notre Dame. And
it's interesting. It went 6.5, 6 up to 7.5. That's 7.5. Interesting game.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly which way I'm going to go. I liked.
There's 55 games, so you don't have to do that one.
No, I'm actually betting all 55.
Okay, well,
I'm kidding.
My brother would do that. That's yeah.
There are guys that do that. I don't know how they do that.
You give them 15 games, and they say, "What about the other ones?" Okay, and then when you go 27 and 28, then they it's whatever.
Yeah, whatever one you didn't give them is their biggest bet.
Yeah, exactly.
And George, I know that's the truth because you're not on Twitter, but I am, and I actually put my games on Twitter. And I get the hateful DMs, direct messages saying, hey, I thought you said this and blah, blah, blah. My 5-star selection bet of the millennium was last week. It was Washington over 60. I thought it was the best bet ever. Washington ends up scoring 59 points. The game goes over. It's easy money. Not one person thanked me for that.
Yeah, but these guys are they're not paying a dime for it, are they?
No, that's free.
Yeah, so I mean, it's you're throwing your stuff out. That's
you got to have some serious gahulis, to go after somebody to give you a free tip.
No, that's
seriously.
True.
Come on.
All right, so we had 15 more minutes or so. Let's roll into the NFL.
Oh yes, great week.
Yeah, you were killing it, George.
No, I didn't. No, I mean in just straight up until I was. If Kansas City does, I actually had San Diego winning the game straight up. If that would have been the case, the first games until the 4 o'clock or 7 o'clock game. No, what's it? 1 o'clock for you? I would have been perfect. I would have loved to be in one of those. I missed those the things where you just pick the winner down there.
Yeah.
In Vegas, but I would have been undefeated, and then Kansas City, and then the rest kind of went. And that was it. And I think I'm losing tonight because I actually took Washington. And I think they're down 24-9, so forget that. But it's been a great day, great, and I don't know how you want to. I mean, the games are, as you know, Griffin, Billy's boy, is out for the year. I got up and did a standing ovation, and now we can win 1 or maybe 2 games before McCowan gets hurt.
Well, the
George always the optimist.
The good news is they can actually sign another quarterback and actually add another one to the record amount of quarterbacks that they've had.
They got Kevin Hogan on the practice squad, so what do they need anymore? and Pryor always wanted to go back as a quarterback, so it'd be perfect.
So I thought it was his choice to play wide receiver, wasn't it?
Well, he doesn't. When he has a choice, either get out of the NFL or play. Yeah, that becomes your choice.
Okay.
He may say it's his choice, but anyway. Okay, so, NFL. What do you need?
No, I was just obviously wanted to go through. Okay, well, let's start with the game tonight. The later on game tonight, the Rams and the San Francisco 49ers.
The L.A. Rams.
L.A. Rams.
That's right.
Rams all the way, just for Bill.
And we're not over-undering the fights that'll be in the stands. We're actually just betting, talking about this game. So I also like the Rams.
Yeah,
I don't think the 49ers have a whole lot going on, and
Rams at least has one of the best defenses, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So why not?
Well, I'm a big fan of their running back Gurley.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes,
I think he's a great young player. He's very personable. I like his on and off the field, just his whole personality and everything. I love.
I do too, and I think he's the kind of guy that. If he gets to that second line, that second tier, where he's up against, safeties and DBs. You know, he really can't be pulled down, and then he's got that breakaway speed to go along with it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's strong as hell. I mean, just absolutely. But you know, just being growing up a Ram fan, and you know, their departure. You know, it took almost, you know, Jesus, what, almost 25 years. But you know, I swore I would never be a Ram fan until they moved back. I still have a soft place in my heart for the Buccaneers, and Jameis Winston had a fantastic opening day.
Most underrated team in the NFL right now.
Yeah, and you know, and I will never not be a Buccaneer fan, but you know, I always wanted to once again be an LA Ram fan and be able to root for my hometown team. You know, Jason, you know, he became a Saints fan when the Rams boogied out of town, and he's been, you know, still been a Saints fan. My oldest son Tony became a Jets fan.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, I think even he deeply regretted that. But yeah, we were not going to be Ram fans. We rooted against them when they played the Titans in that epic Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, that was great. With
Yeah,
Kurt Warner.
and we were shocked as to how many Ram fans showed up cheering for them, and they had only been out of town like 2 years, I think. And I was just like, you know, what is wrong with you people? But
Well,
what can I say?
The sad thing about St. Louis is they're actually still paying for that stadium.
Yeah.
So they're going to be paying for many more years.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I would love to have had a dome stadium, and then they have one that's 20 years old, and they're saying that it's ancient.
Yeah.
It's you know, it's. I'm thinking to myself, wow, I didn't realize that 20-year-old indoor stadium suddenly, you know, went to pot. But I mean, Atlanta, they've been down there in the Georgia Dome for I don't know how many years.
Yeah. Well, I saw a recent video about with the Silver Dome, and that's just terrible what they've let happen.
Really?
Yeah, it's just terrible.
Yeah. Well, listen, I mean, I kind of digress, and I'm sorry, guys, but I'm just really excited about.
I just want to know when they're leaving again.
Probably 20. Let's see. What is
As
this?
soon as their lease is
2016,
up.
2037, 2038.
Okay, so have you looked at any games for this week, George?
Nope.
Just by chance? Okay.
Nope.
Yeah, so we'll get your plays up on the website,
Yeah.
snsportsnews.com, probably by Thursday. But before that Thursday night game, we'll have them up there. Twitter, SN Sports News on Twitter. We
I
also-
do have a few comments, though, if you want, about these last week's games. Minnesota luckily came back on 2 interceptions, et cetera.
Yep.
I'm not a Bradford fan, but they got to get Hill out of there. The stats look good, but they just stacked the line of scrimmage, the Titans. Peterson, 19 carries, 31 yards. That's absolutely horrid.
Yep.
And they have to have somebody to throw the ball more than 4 yards.
Well,
And,
he's a replacement quarterback at best. I mean,
I understand, and I know he had to learn some. And Bradford isn't in one of my top people either, but they did put out a lot of capital to get him.
Yeah.
So maybe it's time to use him.
Well, you know, I mean, in his defense, you know, he learned one playbook. He was
No.
learning.
I'm not. I agree with that.
Yeah.
It's 1 week's enough. You know, he went to college, I
Did
believe.
go to college? Yes, he
Yeah.
did.
Okay.
Well, the one game we're going to have to look at, I don't even know if it's on the schedule, we'll have to check, is if they do play Philly, because they're definitely going to have it in on the playbook of Philadelphia if they ever play Minnesota plays Philly. So
Yeah, and unless of course he gives them, you know, Chip Kelly's playbook. Oh yeah, this is what they're going to run.
and they might do that actually. But so I only put 2 games up actually for this week. I think Detroit is really showed some guts. Their defense was kind of got me in that same old Detroit scenario.
What did I tell you?
Yeah.
Yesterday I said I can just see Jeff now.
I was just like,
How many times did those teams combined use the prevent defense to try to lose?
I can't stand that. I absolutely cannot stand.
And then they
when
missed the
teams
extra
do that.
point. I said, because I did have Detroit straight up in that game.
Well, when he missed the extra point, I was like, I saw this story already. I've already seen what
Read
happens
the script,
next.
you know how this movie ends.
But the difference was that they left a little bit too much time for Detroit, and Stafford is actually a pretty good quarterback under pressure like that.
Definitely is.
Yes.
Yeah, so
He's
he
a very good quarterback.
he kept it together and drove him down the field for the win. I was very happy. But I know the other one you got to be talking about is the Saints
Oh,
in the
my
Raiders
goodness.
game, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, first of all, the play that where I thought the game was like really over was when Drew Brees dropped back into the end zone and threw that. I don't even know what it was. It had to be
98
like
yards,
It threw that down the sideline. That guy caught it full on stride.
and
Cooks,
just
Brandon Cooks,
yeah.
and it was just amazing to me, like the touch that Brees put on that ball. In the end zone under pressure, he puts a absolutely perfect pass in the hands of this guy going full speed.
Yeah, and this guy, and he just turned on the afterburners, and it was
Oh yeah,
wasn't even close.
there was just no one catching him.
Yeah, I
But-
mean, I was feeling really good about that game.
Yeah, but then the young guy, the young running back for Raiders. Do you guys remember his name? It's Roderick or
Something like that.
yeah, that 75-yard touchdown,
Yeah.
first carry in the NFL. How about that?
Yeah, that was a buster. Yeah.
I mean, that's a football you keep.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
But
then-
how much testosterone would it take to go for 2 points at the end of that?
It's
That's
unbelievable.
Yeah, that was.
what do you think?
yeah.
Somebody called him on the internet Blackjack Del Rio now.
I tell you, we were talking about that beforehand, and and even yesterday, Jay and I was commiserating with him about the Saints. And it was a tough one to lose, but give it to Del Rio, and as Jeff was saying beforehand, that really shows your team,
Yeah.
what you're willing to do and how much faith that you've got in them.
Well, if people that are on Twitter, definitely go and check this out. Jack Del Rio actually tweeted, the ESPN tweeted the percentage of a game that you win by going for two, and it's like 15 or 14.9% or something like that. And Jack Del Rio's response to that, he retweeted and responded back, "That's why you're not coaching." and I absolutely love that because
Wow.
that's like, it's like you are a commentator. Go commentate. Go do your stuff at ESPN.
Well, who had sent
I'm
that
on the-
tweet? Jerry
ESPN.
Jones?
No,
I was just kidding.
It might have been Peyton from Coach Peyton.
Was that kind of like when Mel Kiper told what's his name, the linebacker the linebacker made 9 more tackles than him in his career? That didn't go over. And he was much bigger than high hair.
Yeah.
I hear I like that.
I like that, too.
It never moves.
Trey Alberts or something like that. I think I don't know what his name was. But anyway, yeah, that's a interesting. Did anything out there about Wilson's ankle? One that he says he's playing, and the sources say he's not playing. So for Seattle,
Well, I went 1-4, and of course Seattle was one of those. I mean, well,
That was a lot of
Jeez.
points
Yeah.
away. That's why I stayed away from that one.
I tell you what, you will not hear a peep out of Seattle about Wilson.
Yeah.
No, you will not. I guarantee you that. Not until absolutely positively he just doesn't play. They're going to play this one really close to the vest.
Yeah, so I'm sure you'll appreciate my loss last night. I had a pretty good day yesterday, but my loss last night was a tough one. I actually had the over in the Arizona game, over 45 points, and I was hoping that they would score the touchdown, on that last drive to actually put the game over. But of course, in Jeff Belknap's gambling fashion, nothing easy. They kicked a field goal, which gave me still an opportunity. I just need a field goal to win. And of course, they line up for a field goal, 47-yarder, and the guy misses it. And the funny thing was, is the guy that was sitting in front of me kept saying, "Miss it," and I was like, I wanted to see if I could hit him with something without him looking,
he has a right to say that.
No, he does, because he obviously has the under. So as soon as he kicked it, I actually got up and walked away, and then he turned to me to actually say something to me, but I was already 10 steps away because I didn't even watch the ball get missed. As soon as he kicked it, I was like, oh, he missed it. And he did miss it. Kickers. Speaking of
well.
kickers,
Never
we
leave a game
got
to a
kickers
kicker.
coming on the show. I better be nice.
That's right. One of our guests is a kicker from Maryland, so yeah, let's not drill him too much. And of course, once again another bizarre ending to a Dallas Cowboy New York Giant game.
Oh man, tragedy for Dallas fans.
Yeah, if they could figure out a way to lose a game in the most spectacular fashion, it's the Dallas Cowboys that will do it.
What, staying in bounds?
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
Yeah, well, you only learn that when you're 8, and then at
I was
every
even thinking a little
level
lower
from
than
there.
that.
Yeah.
and especially when your teammate is pointing to the sideline emphatically, and I listen.
He did get that extra yard that he was trying to get.
Yeah, I think he was trying to. Everyone say he's padding his.
I thought you were going to say that some fantasy asshole, pardon my language, gained an extra point because of him, and they're happy. Okay.
Then he had
And
checked
they
at
won
halftime his fantasy stat for his points for the day and said, "Hey, I need to kick it
somebody
in."
won their fantasy. That's the upside of this thing. Someone won their fantasy by
Yeah.
1 point,
That's
and it was
wonderful.
That's great, George. Thanks.
Yes, that's. When I get out there, I'll tell you the story about Randy Moss. That's the only mistake I made in 7 million stats one year when I did all the stats for Don Best. I made a 10-yard touchdown instead of 9. Well, I'm telling you anyway now. And some guy called up, and I had changed it, but the system didn't take it, and I got reamed by our boss because I missed a 10 to 9, and that was an extra point.
It was amazing the
Only mistake of the year.
fantasy nerds that would call up. I have it on good authority that my boy got, and you'd be sitting there going, "Oh Jesus, yeah." Then have to go through the whole game. Well, listen.
Billy, it's 9:30. It looks like or 6:30. I guess it's time for me to leave. I think, huh?
First of all, Georgie, thank you very much, man. And
But I do want to leave you with some. To your son and your other son, and they both know you. That you're the biggest optimist I've ever seen. You turn dark into day and all this. But a guy sent me a joke on the email, and you may have heard this already. But true optimism is going after Moby Dick in a rowboat and bringing the tartar sauce.
thank you, George. I appreciate that.
Take care. I'll talk to you next week. 22 days to Vegas.
Thanks,
All right,
George.
and we're looking forward to getting you out here, brother.
I'll bring you the chocolate chips.
Thank you, man.
Bye-bye. Take care. Bye-bye.
George.
All right, George Jorge Mish, our prognosticator from Cleveland, and that's no joke. He will be out here in October. He's going to be here for a month, so you'll get a chance to see him, live on the show.
wait.
Yes, John, he'll
gonna
be
be
here,
great.
but at least we won't have to worry about trying to call him. So there you go. All right, well, listen, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to switch gears here. You're listening to Southern Nevada Sports News coming to you from the Worldwide Digital Broadcasting Corp.com. We'll be right back. All right, we are back. Round two. Southern Nevada Sports News coming from Worldwide Digital Broadcasting Corp.com. And so we're going to switch gears now. We're going to go back to college football. And with us on the line from Maryland, the University of Maryland, and one of the Terrapins, kicker Wade Lees. Wade, are you there?
I sure am, boys. How are we?
All right, mate. How you doing?
Not too bad, not too bad. Currently out at watching the Redskins play the Steelers. Watching a good buddy, Jordan Berry, hit him down the field.
So is he another one of the disciples of the Emperor?
That's right. He sure is. So he's actually the original. So
Oh, you're kidding.
he come over here. Yeah. So he come over here with the very first batch of guys that come over that Nathan come over and signed a scholarship at Eastern Kentucky, and then now he's up in the big league now. So which is good to see. Doing very well.
Well, needless to say, he's not going to be alone, and given the number of pro kick disciples that are currently playing Division I football here in the United States, this is going to be a pretty crowded field. So first of all, I mean, clearly we got to catch up here because nobody's going to have the slightest idea who we mean by the Emperor. But needless to say, you're an Aussie.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, well,
if you couldn't tell by the accent, but yes, I am.
yeah. And pro kick, in Australia has become literally a factory for generating, some of the best punters and kickers here in the United States playing D1 football, and now obviously playing professional football.
Definitely.
Yeah, and so, Mr. Smith, as I like to call him, the Emperor, he has put together a program that is now, needless to say, it's no longer, when he brings his group in here to the United States or people are contacting him about recruits, it's because it's tried and true, and there's just a lot of you blokes out and about right now.
Oh, definitely, yes. So John and Nathan do a fantastic job down at Pro Kick. I originally first got wind of Pro Kick through a good friend of mine, Cameron Johnson, who's a punter at Ohio State now, going into his senior year.
Yep.
Had a very good start to the year, over a 50-yard average, along with Mitch Wisnowski, who's at Utah, and Michael Dixon, who's at Texas. I think he's got a 55-yard average, so to start off the year. So the boys are doing very well. We're very well taught up by Nathan. Obviously, us Australians play Australian football, so that's how we get our kicking and punting skills, because that correlates. So instead of a quarterback throwing to their receiver, we're born, I suppose, into kicking a ball to efficiently what would be a wide receiver or to another player.
Right.
So that's how we become so precise, and obviously pinpoint skills obviously correlates into the kicking game in American football, which we'll take any day.
So it has nothing to do with the Kangaroos, then, is what you're saying?
That's right.
Okay.
I wish it did, because the amount of money those receivers are on, I'll tell you what.
Because the Kangaroos can't catch, obviously, because they got the short arms, but they got some pretty strong legs.
No, that's right, and they've got their pouches that the ball can go in. So.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we're fortunate. Depending on what cable outlet you have, we get Aussie Rules football.
Yes.
And the key in that, I don't think if people are not familiar with it, is that you have to use your punting skills to basically pass the ball, and then it kind of kills the ball, which allows that person who receives it the chance to then make a play from there. And so it's not only just distance, but it's also touch.
Yeah.
You're finding more and more that most of the punts are not just simply for maximum distance. They're for touch. They're for inside a certain area. So when did you get started with Pro Kick?
Sorry, what was that, mate?
When did you get started with Pro Kick?
Okay, so I started, I think it was probably about mid-2013. So it took me about a year and a half. I contemplated whether doing it or not. I knew there was a lot of hard work, because I actually didn't complete high school, so there was a lot of academic work involved with my transfer across. So once I sort of knew that that's what I wanted to do, I would sort of head down, bum up, and just sort of worked entirely just to get myself over here. So it took me about a year and a half, went back to university and transferred over. So that was my pathway. And then obviously ended up at Maryland, which is good. So I'm loving it over here now. It's right near the nation's capital, DC. So it's a beautiful part. It's a beautiful part of America.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how do you like that area, Maryland, but also the university?
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Obviously, you get sort of two different types of Maryland. You get the winter, which I come into 4 foot of snow straight from an Australian summer. So it was almost like that scene off Cool Runnings when he throws him in the ice cream truck and his hair snaps off. So so that was a bit of an eye opener. But now we're obviously in the summer, coming into the fall. So it's a beautiful time of the year. This is. I'm absolutely loving it.
That it is. Where are you originally from?
Melbourne, so that's sort of down south of Australia.
Yeah, I've been to Melbourne on business, and it's a beautiful city, and
it is.
and I've also been to Sydney, and Melbourne reminds me a lot like San Francisco. I don't know if you've been to San Francisco, but
no, I haven't. I've travelled to a lot of places in America. San Fran is not one of them, though. It's on my to-do list.
Yeah, well, you got to get out there, man. Don't do just whatever they tell you. You got to get to San Francisco.
I've heard good things, so there's no bad things about it.
Yeah, and
their football side isn't going too well. That's all I know.
Yeah, well, they may be in need of a punters. So, yeah, needless
Well,
to
let's
say,
just
kind of
hope they give Nathan a call up, and hopefully one of our guys can go help. I know Tommy Hackett's had a fantastic college career, so
Yes.
he's begging for a chance. Obviously, Jamie Keane, who was at LSU, there's a few boys sitting just waiting to pounce on a team, I think.
Yeah, well, and needless to say, man, I guarantee you they're going to be moving up to and playing on Sunday, just given the talent pool, and it's coming from a relatively small pool of talent. I mean, it's not exactly this is you've got like 1,000 guys, and then you just sort of like kind of pick and choose.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, the one thing that I appreciate is, being a football player, playing safety, playing some wide receiver, growing up, and then, I always wondered, stayed in the sport, most of my adult life, either owning teams or being a coach or whatever it was, and I always wondered why punters could not just punt it out of bounds. And it just made no sense to me. Like, that's all you do. Can't you punt it at that cone? So when we would train our guys, Bill would see me out there teaching my guys. I would put a cone out there and say, "Hey, man, kick it to that cone because that's where I need to go." And so to see you guys actually do that and train to do that is fantastic to see from a fan's perspective. Because there's times where we don't want you to kick the ball to Jabril Peppers, for example. And if you do that, just do it for me, but don't make the tackle. But what I'm saying is that's not a guy you want to kick to. So, kicking it out of bounds is obviously, the play there. So to see how you guys
definitely.
do it, to me it's fabulous. I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, Will Likely's another one. So he's our punt returner, kickoff return. So he broke fair few records last year, and so our first few games we played Howard and FIU, and they're just kicking him squib kicks along the ground because they know he won't return them.
Right.
So it's sort of frustrating, I suppose, in essence for a returner, but it's making me wonder just how come punters and kickers just don't go out and return them. So.
Well, we understand that you're also a friend of ours, somebody by the name of Squid.
Yeah, Jakey boy. Yeah, he's a great friend of mine. Yes, he is.
Yeah, well, we, needless to say, he was actually one of our co-hosts here on the show.
I certainly know that. I was watching actually your show a couple of times last year when I was back home in Australia.
Terrific.
And he was wearing Australian colours a few times on there. I think it was the soccer that was on, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, he happened to be here for the rugby finals.
Yep.
Oh, sorry, it was the rugby, not the soccer.
Yeah, and man, I didn't make it over to the finals, but he located this bar, talked to him, and they actually had it, and it was like this huge Aussie contingent that showed up, and unfortunately,
I'm sure Jake would have been front and square there, just really rallying the boys up.
Oh
no.
Heck yeah!
You know what that big old head he's got, man. He was like taking over.
That's right.
And he's a big lad.
He's a big boy.
He's definitely a big lad.
A very big-looking lad, so I'm sure he's the ladies in there as well.
Yes, he. His dance card was pretty much full.
And and a shout out to Jake too. I mean, he just got a job doing some reporting for Australian gambling. Which is great. I've contacted them, and there's some good guys over there that he's working with. But I'm sure you saw the video of him with his hair flying in the wind.
Yeah, I certainly did. Yeah, there was a few messages sent back and forth there. We'll sort of giving him a bit of banter. So it was all good fun. As Australians do, they love to hang a bit of banter on each other.
Yeah. Well, Jake, I tell you, he's definitely what we consider to be a mate.
Yep.
And we had a chance also to meet his mom and dad.
Yep.
And when you meet dad, you know why Jake is Jake.
So I haven't met Dad yet, but obviously sounds like that the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So looking at the games you played already, are you looking down? Are you guys? When are you guys heading to Florida? I guess is the best question.
So we played in Miami on the weekend, Friday night game. So we had on Thursday, and then official head this Friday. So We had a short turnaround last week, and we got the extra day this week, so for recovery. So obviously get a few more training sessions there, and obviously clean up on a few things and like a few little errors that we made, and just fine tune just to get into that UCF game. I feel that each week. So we started off with Howard and then FIU, and each week it's going to get harder and harder for us. So we've got to head down, bum up, and obviously just get coached and obviously learn from our mistakes. So it's obviously better learning from mistakes after a win than a loss.
So I didn't see the update. I saw that Southern Florida's quarterback got hurt. Did you guys get the update on who's going to be playing against you guys?
I've got no idea. So obviously I'm just in special teams, so I'm sure the coaches would know about that. I'm pretty sure that UCF, obviously, their new coach was the offensive coordinator at Oregon, so they'll be a pretty strong outfit, we can imagine, especially down there in Orlando. They'll have their contingency behind them. But Coach Durkin's been fantastic. He's sort of laid the rules down early on. He's massive, he's huge on special teams, so for us, he emphasises if you don't play on special teams, you won't be playing anywhere else. So all the boys have really been working hard. And he's got a great coaching staff in behind him. One of his motto is go hard for as long as you can and don't worry what happens. So at trainings, he had us out there in 104 degrees heat, just slugging it out, because he knew that our first two games were going to be in Florida as well. So. Yeah. Obviously, that's helped us out.
Yeah, so, as the punter, are you the safety valve, or do you actually get a chance to go down there and make a tackle?
Sorry, what was that?
As the punter, are you a safety valve, or are you the last guy, or are you actually a guy that makes the tackle and then they allow somebody else to be the safety valve?
Okay, all right, so I try and fit in so after I punt it, I try and fit in. I haven't had any balls returned to me yet, so we'll just wait and find out. But I'd be definitely keen to go down and hit someone. So obviously, resorting back to the Australian rules, I wouldn't shy away from lane and tackle. But obviously, coach doesn't really want me in the action. But if it comes to it, I'm certainly not going to shy away.
All right, I want to see you lay the hat on somebody. I'm going to be watching.
That's right. Well, I know you do, but I certainly don't, because I don't want the ball coming back down to me. So because I know it's been either bad coverage or a bad punt.
Right. So I'm expecting no less than 4 9s. I'm going to call Nathan after the show and make sure that that's acceptable behavior for a punter.
Yeah, so let's just see. Most of my punts last week were all going inside 20, so my average isn't up there around what Dicko's is at 55 yards. But I think out of my 8 punts, I've had 6 or 7 inside 20s, and I think 5 of them inside the 10. So I wouldn't mind a few open-ended kicks just to sort of lengthen that average out. As they say, if I'm not punting, it's a good thing.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys have put up 95 points in the first 2 games, so that's going to keep you off the field a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, the good news is that, the people that really look at punters are not looking at that average as much as they want to know how many you've dropped inside the 20 and the 10. And
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But obviously, I'll get better with the experience as well. So that was sort of my first game. I was pretty. I wouldn't say I was terrified. I was sort of more anxious and nervous just to get the first kick over and done with. First kick was into a 22-mile-an-hour breeze, so that was even more, I suppose, nerve-wracking. But once I let the first one fly, it was sort of all nerves were out the window, and I just couldn't wait to get back out there.
Nice.
There you go, man. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, we wish you the best of luck in Orlando this week. I know that replay. I watched the Michigan game, and Michigan handled them Southern Florida pretty easily, or Central Florida pretty easily, and I think you guys should be able to do the same thing.
Yeah, fingers crossed. So
that your schedule gets tougher,
we'll obviously
man.
go in it with a little bit of confidence, but but obviously we certainly won't fear anyone, but we certainly respect all the teams we come up against, and
fear no one.
And obviously go in it. Yeah, that's right, and obviously go into it. Hopefully get the win and head back to a bye. So, hopefully certainly keep the coach happy.
Well, keep being from Aussie, who has the deadliest animals in the world, right? How can you really fear anything?
That's what everyone says. I've been telling everyone about the drop bears. So it's a fictional koala bear that's turned wild. If you ever get a chance to look up a drop bear, all the Americans over here believe it. I show them like all these photos on Google, and they can't believe it.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, you have to send me
And
a
the
picture of
jumping
it, man.
snake as well.
I'll share a picture on Twitter later on.
That's right.
All right. Well, thanks. So, is that game over? You told me you were at the Washington and Pittsburgh games. That game over now?
No, it's not. I'm not too sure what the score is at the moment. Last time I checked, it was probably about 10 minutes into the last quarter, and the Skins had just had a touchdown. They were 7 points behind, so it was a bit of a ball game.
Brand new ball game.
That's right, definitely.
All right. Well, Wado, we appreciate the call in, and we are watching, and I am looking for you to lay the hat on somebody, and I'll be sharing that. And but I'll take a couple of those boom kicks too. I actually have the Big Ten network at my house, so I'll definitely be checking you out.
Oh, no worries. I might have to send you over a Maryland jersey just to keep in the studio. So.
I'm ready.
Hey man, absolutely.
Yeah,
jump on the bandwagon. Jump on the bandwagon because it's going to take off.
Don't send me a medium. I do not wear a medium. I know how you Aussies wear your stuff skin tight.
Yeah, you like your stuff.
Yeah, very tight. Actually, that's one thing I noticed. Like the first time we went into the equipment room, he gives me an extra large and it's just swimming on me, and I was like, "What's this?" I was like, "Have you got any smalls or mediums?" And everything was extra large. So I wear it as I go to bed. It's that big on me.
Well, Wado, man, listen, man, thank you so much, man, because we know what Monday night is probably one of your nights off, and you want to watch the football.
Anytime.
But we certainly appreciate you calling in, man, and again, best of luck to you, and we'll obviously be in touch with Squid, but we'll let them know that we had you on, brother.
All right, thanks, Wado.
No worries. It's good to chat to you guys.
All right, man. Take care now, bro.
Speak to you later.
All right, yeah, man. Wade Lees, punter for the Maryland Terrapins, and obviously Big Ten. You refrained from even mentioning anything about Michigan State, and
nope.
Yeah, they got a tough schedule, and Ohio State. They really do. They absolutely have a tough schedule. But
if they can pull this game off, they play Purdue next, which is kind of a soft opener. To that, and then they go to Penn State after that. It's going to be tough. I mean, Maryland has got a tough road being in the Big Ten, but they knew that.
Well, they knew that going in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the ACC.
Yep.
Yeah. You don't get the Dukes of the world. So, but listen, folks, we just have a couple of minutes, and as always, we'd like to thank George Mish for coming in and being a guest on the show. As always, the prognosticator himself. And really hope he feels better. But as always, be sure to turn in by no later than Thursday. The pics will be up on the SN News website, and also the Twitter.
I constantly post the pics on the Twitter, and then snsportsnews.com.
Our social guru here, since I'm 58. Those things are just I try to stay up to it. But hey, listen, it is what it is. But now that I have my my son here in town, he might be able to teach me a few tricks. He clearly posts on Facebook.
He teach you how to cook.
Yeah. Well, I do get my cooking tips from he and his brothers.
No, there ain't no lie. They're a cooking family.
Yes, yeah. Miller men know how to cook.
That's right.
But be sure to join us next Monday, September 19th. 6 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time for another installment of Southern Nevada Sports News, coming to you from Worldwide Digital Broadcasting Corp.com, which will soon be moving into our new space,
huge
headquarters here in Las Vegas. Thanks to John, owner, guru. That's what I'm talking about. And Ricky Cheese, former ABC affiliate here, morning news anchor. Will be joining the broadcast team here at Worldwide Digital Broadcasting Corp.com. Join us next week. Have a great week.
God bless.